Hi guys, this is my third, no, fourth attempt, at trying to make this video where I don't use obscene amounts of profanity. That is how upset, frustrated, mad, ticked off, annoyed, insert whatever here I am, to the point where I had to go and have a shower and come back just while my beard's all wet and stuff. Now, with the release of the new Fulgrim model, I started looking at alternative Fulgrim models. And I found one from Dark Gods. Now, some of you may or may not know, I have a lot of Dark Gods models. And I have had nothing. Here you go, see? Dark Gods. I've had nothing but problems with their pre-supported miniatures. Now, I want to prove to you, one, I know what the hell I'm doing, and two, I know what the hell I'm talking about. So, I'm going to show you some pre-supported miniatures. Now, this is what's these models I'm about to show you, or these failures as I'm about to show you, are what Dark Gods want you to print. You may have to tweak them a wee bit for your printer, but that's why you take the STL file, throw it in your slicer program, and then export it, etc., etc. You never take the direct file and try to print it. Not going to work. Now, I'm going to show you theirs, and then I'm going to show you mine. Okay? So, first things first, this is the plinth with the tail wrapped around it. And you think to yourself, this looks good. It looks good. No. It collapsed. As you can see there, it collapsed not once, but twice. Because there was no supports strong enough. And it wasn't my settings. Because I'm about to prove to you it was not my settings. Also, the model had cavities. There's only words I can call it. It had hollow cavities inside it to try and save your resin. But the problem is, it didn't have any drain holes. So I had uncured resin inside these. This and this. And I could slosh them about. And it'd make nothing but sloshing noises. So I ended up having to take a drill to both the body, which is right here, and the plinth, and pour out. Dude, it just came out like milkshake. Uncured resin. And that's how the files came. And I can prove it. I'm going to boot up the slicing software I use. Now, the slicing software I use is Box 208, which is the current version as of this recording. And it's on my FlashForge Photo 8.9, so it's a 9-inch printer. Okay? Now, this is how I set mine up. Okay? And by the way, they don't supply the base at 100 millimeters. You have to scale up the base from 60 mil to 100 mil. The 100 millimeter model does not have a base. Here. Yes, told you. I'm in a Slanish mood. So, I'm going to show you I have a lot of 3D files. Chaos. Dark Gods. Lust. Okay. 100 mil. They have a supported base, but it failed to print. It just came out as a clump. So all these supported files that you see here, don't use them. They don't work. They don't work. I'll say that again. They don't work. Now, to prove it, I will take their supported base and put it next to my supported base. So I've already printed this file, so I don't really. Now, I am going to rotate this base, and oh look, it's immediately told me that there's cavities. That's what this yellow is. Cavity detector. Let it scan. Cavities, which means it's hollow. Okay? Now, here's the problem. Do you see any drain holes? Because I don't. So, if you printed this base here, the yellow one, and it successfully printed, okay, you're going to have uncured resin inside that base. And what happens to uncured resin? It wants to leave. It creates a gas. And that gas is going to cause the skin, the outer shell, to crack. And you're going to have leaking uncured resin everywhere. Now, these are the same. These are the same base. The only difference is this one, that's more narrower to the ground and has shitty fucking supports, I might add, is supplied by them. And you can tell. And you want to know how you can tell? Look at the underframe. Okay? All these little triangles are going to be suction cups. And those suction cups are going to rip your FEP sheet. Those suction cups are going to cause you a whole bunch of misalignment issues. You never use a skeletal frame. And that's what that is. That is a skeletal or a skeletal frame. Okay? So this is a skeletal frame. What you see, the skate right here. It's a skeletal frame. You never use that. You use a solid frame. Like what you see on mine. Okay? This bad, this good. Here. This, down here, this one, bad. This, good. Want to know how I can prove it? Mine printed. Yeah, this is quite heavy. I'm not going to lie. It's quite a heavy base. But that's what I wanted. I wanted it as a solid, heavy base. Because it's going to have a fucking centerpiece on it. You want your base to be heavy. So that's one for me. And I just proved it with the base. Okay? So, let's delete their shitty base. And let's grab... There you go. Let's grab their head. Okay? That's their head. This is my head. Now, This head, the chin alone, I've got to move these weapons out of the way. Move. Now. Oh, look. Even the fucking supports are hollow. That's the problem with Lychee Slicer. Lychee Slicer does not know how to handle supports correctly. Now, do you really think that that is a substantial connection for a chin? No. Because guess what happens? It prints with no fucking chin. No fucking jaw. None. So, that's bad. Here's mine. Everything is supported. Secure. And works. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, a fucking chin. A fucking jaw. So that's 2 for me. Base, head. Now, I'll put the nail in the coffin and pick a weapon. Okay? I need a weapon. Okay, Master Chief, you need a weapon. Okay. There's mine. Okay. Want to know what happened to theirs? Every single one. Take a look. The hands and the shaft, giggity, all collapsed. Why? Poor supports. And oh look, it's hollow again. This was a rushed product. My support. Every single weapon printed perfectly. All 4 printed perfectly. Look at that. Cross guards, handles, feet, thumbs, nails, fingers, everything. Not a single collapse. So that's strike 3. And I will still go ahead and I will show you the biggest monumental failure of all. Now, this is the straight up torso. You've just seen me drag and drop it. Oh, look, Blue Peter moment. Here's one that failed to print earlier. And you're thinking, that doesn't look like a failed print. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Where's the scales on that side? Not a single one of them printed. Look at that arm. That arm shouldn't be that thin. Look at that arm. That arm shouldn't be that thin. So the supports on this elbow failed, and the supports on the whole of this elbow to that wrist on the left lower arm completely failed. Now let's take a look at how they modelled that. Not to mention that there's a great big cacking hole. There's a great big hollow cavity with no drain. I'll say that again. No drain in the center of the model. You actually think... And by the way, there's no supports for these horns on the elbows. None. So they're not going to print. And these support tips are too... Look, there's nothing there. That's why it never printed. The support is just too small. It's not there. You used the wrong support. You think this little horn down here is going to help support that entire arm? You're brain dead. You rushed this. Whoever at Dark Gods approved this print, you need to be fired. No, I'm not for cancel culture. I'm not saying cancel. No. I'm saying flat out, you need to be fired. Because it's clear you're sucking the light. It's clear you're sucking Lychee Slicer's cock. Because I can tell you right now that was a Lychee Slicer. That all of that right there is Lychee Slicer. Because Lychee does not know how to support a model correctly. Now, let me import in one of my models. How would I support the model? Right. See? This goes to show how lazy whoever it was actually is. Okay? Because all they did was just take the actual model and then just go supports. Don't know why you picked light, but you picked light. I went, looks good. Ship it. No, that does not look good. That does not look good at all. Okay? Right here. Skull alone needs supports, especially on the interior. Okay? The underbust on this arm. Right here too. And look how my slicer software actually put fucking supports on the arm itself. And this is the basic, well, this is the pro version of the software, but this is a basic no-brainer. And I mean a basic no-brainer. Now, this is if I wanted to actually care about the orientation, which I don't. Because you know why? That's not how you'd orientate that model. Yeah, that's pretty much how I would orientate the model. I would orientate it that direction, not this direction. So, go to supports. I would use medium supports. Nice. See if I couldn't. Yeah, you can. Let's build some an internal lattice for. There we go. Yes, it's a little bit more cleanup, but I'm sorry. I would rather have a fucking model that prints, and that I would be proud of, rather than one that just fails. check down here. Okay. And some more on that neck. That's how I would do it. I think this arm's gonna, this arm's gonna need a little bit more love. There we go. Oof, yeah. We can actually go to lighter supports. For anything internal. There we go. Can't go any higher than that or it will cause a resin trap. Smart scanning the file. No, I'd want at least one more. There we go. That is how I would support this model. Again, would be a little bit more cleanup, but the fact that this is a 100 mil model, to me, if you're making this a centerpiece, which is what this is supposed to be, take pride in it. Make sure it prints. It's called common fucking sense. Don't just rush to get shit out the door. You want to know who used to rush product to get it out the door? I'm a hardcore Ford fan, but Ford Motor Company. They did it with the Pinto. There you go. There. See, now this is where I'd also add the wings if I wanted to. And yes, I know Fulgrim's supposed to have wings. So, you know what? Let's take a look. Where's the wings? There's the left wing. There's the right wing. Bloop. Bonk. Not a fan of how these wings look. But if I was gonna print these wings, I mean, that would be a smart orientation for space on the bed, but not the axis, because that's just added a ton of layers. So I might print those wings in a third part. You know what? Yeah, I will. I'll delete those. I'll print those in a third part. So, notice no cavities. No nothing. Yeah, this is going to eat up, what, 80 something mil of resin, which is a lot for a model. I mean, hell, a squad of 20 Space Marines wouldn't even be 80 mil for me. I would probably go through about 90 mil to make a Titan. No. Last Titan I made was 110 mil. Milliliters, I mean, sorry. More Dreadnought. So yeah, you could hollow the model out. It would add more complexity to the model. You would then also have to add drain holes in more than just one part of the body. I would do that for like a tank, like a Conflict 47 or a bolt action tank. I've actually done that. I've got a 3D printed KV1, German captured KV1 over there. But yeah, that's not bad. So now I'm gonna go slice it. It's gonna do a whole bunch of calculating. It's gonna weigh 96 grams. Oof. Save the slice. I'm then going to go and bring up one of my favorite tools that I cannot stress enough that if you are into 3D printing, you should have this tool. It's called UV Tools. Okay? Now, it's going to go through and correct some issues. Fix the transition layers. Even though the transition layers are not out, it still says that they're out, but they're not. And then now we're going to click on this little radioactive, click detect. Now it's going to scan all 1070 layers for islands, overhangs, and resin traps. Now, this program is very RAM intensive, so you got to have at least 32 gigs of RAM. Okay. Let's take a look at the resin traps. Okay, they're mostly in the supports. That appears to be... Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to click on this little... No suction cups, no empty layers, so we're just going to hit repair. And let it do its thing. Okay. So it did another sweep and checked. Okay. Now these little lower layers down here are all supports. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to fill those in. That's an island. Don't. Looking at resin traps right this second. Support. Support. Wait. That one's not a support. That one's not. So anything under 100. Okay, that's support. Questionable. 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 Alright, so that one's support as well. So I feel I'll solidify that. Now, islands. Okay. Now, this is where you want to put your time and energy into. You want to put your time and your energy into this part of doing and getting your 3D prints ready. Because I don't know about you, but I want my prints to actually print. Okay. So it got rid of all of the res. Yeah. So all we've got now is islands. Okay. Now I always spend roughly about 25, 30, maybe up to an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending on the model. Just in UV tools alone, doing this. But it's worth it. Because you will save so much money in the long run. Alright, so it looks like the file was ready to try and be printed. So you're going to hit File, Save. Yes. Now it's going to save it as the original FDG file, but I'm going to convert it to a FlashForge SVGX because that's what my printer reads. I know deleting the FDG and typing in SVGX does not work. I don't care what people say. Oh, just delete those little numbers. No, doesn't work. Don't work like that. Okay. So we can close the first file. Keep our second. Hit detect. See, in order to create supports that actually matter, you need to know fluid dynamics. And if you don't understand fluid dynamics, don't do 3D print, especially resin 3D printing. FDM 3D printing is a different story. Because there are some FDM printers out there that you can cannibalize failed prints and it'll melt it back into filament and you can reuse it. You can't do that with a resin 3D printer. Once you get a failed print, yeah. Once you get a failed print like this, that's it. You're done. That's it. You're just done. See? This is just done. Those swords, done. You're just done. Anyway, guys, if you work for Dark Gods, or you know someone who does work at Dark Gods, please show them this video. They need to understand that they got to stop being lazy. If you make 3D miniatures and you have a company, stop using Lychee Slicer. Just stop. It's a pathetic program. It's that simple. Learn to support your miniatures correctly. That's it. Anyway, guys, see you in the next video.